Hi everybody, this is Mindy and welcome to video number 5 in our basic drawing videos. Today we're going to do 1-point perspective. And so all we need is a piece of paper. I like white copy paper because it's bright white and it's smooth. But you can use any kind of drawing paper or any paper that you have available. Any kind of pencil you're comfortable with. It could be a mechanical pencil, a colored pencil, regular pencil, whatever you want. You'll need an eraser, and then you'll need a straight edge. And this is something I like to use. It's a roller ruler is what it is. It's just kind of fun. It's easy to use. You can use a metal cork back ruler if you have that. Those are great. If you don't have a ruler, any kind of straight edge would work. So it can be a piece of mail, just so you have a straight edge, something that you'd be able to move around on your paper and use as a straight edge. It does not have to be a ruler. It can be anything with a straight edge. Edge of a piece of mail. It can be the edge of a book or a magazine, but all you need is the straight edge and something you can move around. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we talked about in atmospheric perspective a horizon line. So a horizon line is where the sky and the ground meet, and it's a line that goes typically across your paper like that. Now the horizon line that we use in 1-point perspective is really just a guide so that we know what is above eye level and what's below eye level. So since it's just a guide and it's not part of our drawing, we don't need to draw it very dark because you'll end up erasing most of it by the time you're done. So very lightly, without much pressure, draw this guideline, this horizon line across the center of your page. You can barely see it. It's really just there for you. So you know that anything above that line is above your eye line. So you're going to see the bottom of stuff that's up above here. If it's below horizon line, it's below your eye level. So you'll see the tops of things, and that'll make more sense here in a minute. So on your horizon line, about in the middle of the page, put a dot. And that dot is going to be very important for what we do today, and that is called the vanishing point. That is where all lines go to meet and disappear at that point. That's why it's called the vanishing point. So the first thing we'll draw is a cube, and that's a square that's turned into a three-dimensional object. So let's start with a square below eye level, and you can freehand it or you can use your straight edge and just draw a square. So a square usually has 4 sides that are typically close to equal, and then 4 corners. Okay, to make this object, a square, into a three-dimensional cube using 1-point perspective, what we do is take every corner to the vanishing point unless it crosses the face. If it would cross the face, this is the face of the box. If it crosses the face, we don't draw it. So, just to show you here, take your straight edge and line it up with this corner and the vanishing point and draw your line to the vanishing point. Then take this corner, line it up with your vanishing point, and draw your line to the vanishing point. This corner, line it up with the vanishing point, and draw your line. And then there's one more corner, this one. If I lined it up with my vanishing point, if I drew it, it would cross the face, so I don't draw it. You just don't have to draw that one. Okay, so now, right now, our cube or our box goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever until it disappears on the horizon line. Well, we don't really want it to do that. So we want to cut it off so that it has a back end, so it doesn't go on forever. So we need to stop this side from going on forever, so we need a back line. And this is where people have issues. If they don't get this line correct, then the cube looks odd to them and they can't figure out why. And the reason is that this back line wasn't matching the front line. So when you draw the back line, if you line your straight edge up with that front one and say, okay, that's the angle of the front line, then simply move it back and draw the back one. Those two have to match. Okay, they have to be the same angle. And you'll know what I mean if you make a mistake and lean this line one way or another. You'll look at it and think, what is wrong with my cube? Something's wrong with my cube. That's usually the reason, because these two lines didn't match up. So same with the top of the cube. If this is about the angle of, that would be my cat. If this is the angle of the front line, the back line has to be the same angle. And there we have it. And then you take your eraser and you can get rid of the lines leading back to the vanishing point that you no longer need. And there's your cube. Below eye level, so you see the top of it and the side of it and the face, the front of it. Now, have you ever drawn a square and turned it into a cube? Or have you seen this done where they did this? That's basically the same thing, right? But this one looks goofy because these lines are parallel instead of going to a vanishing point. Okay, that's really important to remember. The reason somebody's cube might look goofy is because these lines are parallel and they shouldn't be. They should go to a vanishing point. Okay, so we don't like that one. So let's try another one above eye level. So let's put another, let's say, let's do a rectangle this time. So long, skinny rectangle. So start with a corner, line it up with your vanishing point. Now, you remember that I erased most of the line down on the bottom one, so that tells me I don't really need to draw very dark for most of that line. There's another corner, line it up with my vanishing point, draw the line. There's another corner up there, line it up with my vanishing point, draw the line. Here's another corner, line it up with my vanishing point, but would I draw it? No. Why? Because it would cross the face if I did, so I'd leave it out. Okay, so right now, my rectangle is going on forever and ever and ever. I don't want it to, so I want to draw the back lines. So I'd line it up with the front one, keep the angle the same. There. Then line it up with the front one. See, I'm lining it up with this one. Then I'm moving it back. There you have it. Then erase the lines going to the vanishing point that you no longer need. And there's your floating cube up in the air. Okay, so because it's above the horizon line, it's above eye level. So you see the face of it, you see the bottom of it, and you see the side. If it's below eye level, then you see the face of it, the top of it, and the side. Okay, and one more. Let's try one over here, and then you can try some on your own. Let's try, instead of a square or a box, and a rectangle or a box, let's try a letter of the alphabet. So let's go with, how about an M? Maybe, if I can draw an M here. And you can do any letter you want with straight lines. I wouldn't try any curves yet until you get this thing mastered. Here's a corner. Line it up with my vanishing point. Here's a corner. Vanishing point. Here's a corner. Vanishing point. Here's a corner. Vanishing point. Would I do this one? Line it up. Uh-oh, if I drew it, it would cross the face, so I don't have to draw that one. This one, same thing. If I drew it, it would cross the face, so I don't have to draw it. Here's one. Here's one. Here's another corner. Would I draw it? Nope. Here's one. Would I draw it? I would for a little bit until it hit the face and I don't have to draw it. Here's one. Nope, don't draw that one. So right now our M is going on forever and ever and ever. So we want to draw the back edge. So line it up on the front line. Keep the angle the same. And you can go back as far as you want, depending on how thick you want your letter. Then these two should be about the same. I'm going to draw those back. Here and here. This one gets a little tricky because it's a little complicated, but you can draw that there. And then this angle is the same. Okay, then you can erase your guidelines. Eventually, when you understand how this works and you've done a million of them, you'll know what lines to draw lightly so that you can erase them easier. Okay, so there's an M. You can try any letter of the alphabet without any curves until you get this down, and then you can try some curves. Just remember that the back line, the back edge, has to match the front edge on whichever side you're working on, top, bottom, or sides. If it's at an angle, then the back edge is at an angle. If it's up and down, then the back edge is up and down. Okay. You can try all over the page. You can try on the horizon line. If you drew something on the horizon line, because that's at eye level, you wouldn't see the top or the bottom. You would just end up seeing this side, right? Okay, that's 1 point perspective. Keep in mind too that in real life, 1 point perspective never happens. It never happens because you can never look directly flat on the face of an object and see any of the sides if you're looking directly on it. But it's what artists use to help make things look three-dimensional or to show depth on a piece of paper. It's just a trick that we use. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. So have fun, and we'll do 2 point perspective on the next video.